But when you are presenting a budget, make sure you have the answer to the why front and center.
Believe you were born to win. It's your right to win. Claim it, frame it, 'cause you were.
Budget season is coming, and here is how to position your team for the funding that you need. I'm going to give you a few things that you might want to consider. Number one, what is the company's articulated strategy? Generally, by the time budget season rolls around, the company has already started to talk about its next fiscal year's goals. Are they positioning themselves to drive revenue? Are they focusing on cutting costs? If you are in a public company scenario, go back and listen to the last couple of quarterly calls that your CEO has done with the street. Every CEO needs to message to the street what their intentions are so that the shareholders can decide, do they want to buy some more of that stock? Is it time to hold that stock? Is it time to lighten up on their position? So go back and listen. And generally, the CEO or the CFO will message the outlook for the next year. So, as you are thinking about your budget, think about it in that context. What are the goals? Secondly, think about your department. Are you a revenue generating department or are you an expense department? Meaning that you don't generate any revenue, but you perform duties that are important to the overall organization. Are you in operations? Are you in administration? Are you in finance? Maybe you are in technology. Generally, those are examples of areas within the organization that are expense areas, but they are vital for the organization to be able to make money in the first place. Now, in an environment like we're in now, where things are a little bit uncertain, you can't really see on the horizon with respect to what's going to happen with interest rates, what's going to happen with the economy, what's going to happen with tariffs, and so on. In these kinds of environments, companies tend to be, at best, cautiously optimistic. They'd like to think that things are going to go well, but they're not willing to go too far in advance with respect to making investments. What does that mean for you and your budget? You need to think about your budget in the context of the macro. What would you like to have happen in the full year? And the micro. How are you thinking about using dollars in the next 2 or 3 quarters? Remember, everybody needs a why. So, if you're going to present a budget that says you'd like to hire more people, or you'd like to make a different investment in technology, or you'd like to change your organizational structure, and that might cost a little bit of money, you need to have the answer to the question why. The person that you are going to present to, they want to understand, why are you making the changes at this time? Why do you believe that you need to have more technology? Why do you believe you need to have another person? And you need to be able to justify that in the context of how it will benefit the organization. Even if you're working in a nonprofit where you might not be responsible for revenue, you need to think about why having more people will make you more efficient. It will make the organization more nimble, more competitive. It might enable you to bring in more dollars. But again, you need to answer the question why. Maybe it's just as simple as you may have been overworking your people for the last 3 years, and you are now in danger of losing some of your best talent. That's a good reason, but you need to be able to present that and give them some evidence as to why you think you might lose this talent. Are people coming in and they're not really motivated? Are people complaining more than ever that they're overworked? Is some of your best talent, you kind of get a feeling that they may be interviewing externally? But when you are presenting a budget, make sure you have the answer to the why front and center. You might also want to consider, if in the last budget you had planned to hire someone and you did not do it for the entire year of 2025, now upper management is thinking you don't really need that person because you survived, you thrived, you delivered without that person. Well, if the case was that you just couldn't find that person and you overworked your staff, then you want to be able to say that. And you want to be able to say, well, I don't want to lose my best people because we failed to find somebody last year. But here are 3 candidates that I'm talking to in the first quarter. So I'm fairly certain that I will be able to fill that head. Budgets are very important. And I always like to say that you want to underpromise and overdeliver. So, if possible, ask for the top end of your budget range, knowing that you might get the top, you might get the middle, you might get the low end. But make sure if you define the low end or the high end, that the low end is something that will enable you to deliver and to thrive no matter what, because you may be lucky enough to get the top end, but you may get pushed back down to the low end. And you don't want the low end of your budget to compromise your deliverable. Now, if your management team says you absolutely can't have that, I can't give you the low end of your range, I can give you 20% below that. Now you want to be able to say, well, if I get 20% below, here is all we can deliver and deliver with excellence. And you have to be prepared with that argument. When those that you are presenting to see that you have thought through everything you're asking for in the context of the organization's strategy, they will respect that and it will heighten the probability that you will get what you're asking for. Go get them.